Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be reading the story titled, My 29 female boyfriend, 30 male, wants to break up with me because I lied to him about my past and he feels sexually insecure. Advice appreciated. Okay. Before we get into the video, I wanted to let you know about the Patreon channel. The link will be in the description if you want to check it out. I will be doing more explicit stories, just exclusive content in that sense of being able to say things I can't on YouTube since there's so many more rules. But yeah, if you want to check that out, just head to the description and the link will be down there. And with that, we'll just get straight to the story. Please overlook any mistakes because I'm crying as I'm writing this. My boyfriend, 30 male, and I, 29 female, have been together for a little more than a year. He's the best man I've ever met, and I love him dearly. About a month or two into our relationship, I got the impression that he wanted a virgin or someone with very little sexual experience. He was also sexually inexperienced, so it felt like he was looking for someone similar. I really liked him and I didn't want him to judge me, so I told him that I didn't really have much intercourse. That's kind of like the big thing right there, like kind of lying, because I feel like that's a bit of a lie. If you we obviously know that's not the truth. Never start off a relationship with like secrets like that, like not secrets but like lies, like downplaying things, I guess. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I really liked him and decided that I would tell him later on when I was more comfortable with him. There it is. I told him that I wasn't a virgin and I had some short relationships but wasn't that sexually experienced either. This was half a lie because while my past sexual partners are quite low, 8, I did have a lot of intercourse with my ex. The reason I didn't mention my ex was because I was in a long, toxic relationship with him. He was kind of a player type and would often flirt with other women to make me jealous. He was emotionally unavailable and me being young and dumb didn't realise that I could leave him and be happy not in a relationship. The intercourse with him was really good and I kind of experimented a lot in bed with him. I would also sometimes consent to certain uncomfortable stuff. I finally left him and healed from the relationship, but I regret doing it. I didn't mention any of this to my boyfriend because I was afraid he would judge me or feel insecure sexually. So I completely avoided any details of my relationship with my ex. Once again, this was in the past and I've completely moved on. I guess like that's when something should have been, you should have talked about it. I know like you didn't want him to judge you and stuff, but can we also talk about the fact that if he judged you from the start, is that a good sign of a relationship with him? So like, if I was to be in her position, I would have told him, and if he judged me and didn't like that about me, then I guess our views don't match and there shouldn't be a relationship kind of thing. So I feel like no matter what, it kind of falls on you because you've half lied about, like you've basically lied saying you didn't have much experience when you obviously do. About 2 months ago, I was at my friend's housewarming party and my boyfriend and I ran into my ex. I was surprised to see him and my boyfriend could feel that I was uncomfortable around him. Someone at the party mentioned that we dated and my boyfriend was surprised. In the car ride back home, I could feel him processing this information. He finally asked me why I didn't mention this and I told him because it was an unhealthy relationship and that my ex was toxic and I really didn't want to get into that. I also told him that I was only in a relationship with him for a couple of months and we only had intercourse once. He was pondering over this the whole night, but the next day he told me that it was okay and that we should move on. I thought my worst days were behind me and that we could finally move on. Well, as bad luck would have it, the chickens came home to roost again. Oh, I've never heard that before. About 2 weeks... That was a bit British. About 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend and I were having intercourse. He was giving me oral and I had taught him a technique on oral intercourse that my ex performed on me. I had an orgasm and he told me in a playful way, "You really like that, huh?" Still recovering from the orgasm, I accidentally blurt, "Yeah, I remember seeing stars when Blake," her ex, "did it for the first time." I immediately regretted it. Imagine saying that to What the hell? I tried to play it off by saying that I was saying that about him, but he caught me in a lie. Why would you even try and play it off? You're digging a hole for yourself, Dales. He started asking me questions and it felt like I would lose him if I lied, so I gave him the honest truth. I told him everything. I told him that it was Blake who first showed me that technique. I also told him that I did have a lot of intercourse with him, and I experimented a lot in bed with him because I felt like that was the only way I could keep him. He told me he feels bad that I did so many things for Blake, but didn't initiate anything with him. I told him I'm not that person anymore, and he said he knows, but he still feels hurt. Valid, he's definitely allowed to because you lied to him. Like, you've been together for like a year, and you lied to him at the start of it. He finally asked me to be completely honest and asked if Blake was better in bed than him, and I said I couldn't compare. He told me that that was a cop-out answer, and he just left the room without saying anything. The next few days were complete hell for me. He told me he felt emasculated, that he was doing something that my ex taught me. He told me he thought that we figured it out on our own, but now that he knows it's something my ex taught me, he feels inferior to him and insecure. I guess that's fine because now every time he does that, he's going to think of your ex. Like, you know, I told him that he means so much to me and I wish I could take it back, but he won't change his mind. He keeps telling me that he feels angry about the fact that my ex was an a-hole and he loves me, yet intercourse with him isn't better. I told him that it was so much better because we loved each other and it means so much more, but he doesn't believe me. But you should have said that straight away. Like, it kind of, I don't know, the way that you said you couldn't compare, but now you can, wouldn't believe you either. He also told me that he feels insecure about the fact that I've experimented with my ex, but not with him. I told him that I'd love to sexually experiment with him, but he keeps telling me that it doesn't really count as experimenting now because I've already done that with my ex and figured out what I like. There could be new things, you know, but I get where he's coming from. He's feeling a bit betrayed in the sense that he was lied to. He also tells me that he wants me to want to experiment with him and not agree to just do it to salvage the situation. I keep telling him that is not what I'm doing and the intercourse with him means so much to me, but he won't budge. He tells me that he didn't get to experiment when he was young and that's why he wanted someone who he could start to experiment with. He keeps telling me that he wants to be the best I've ever had and now he can never trust that he will be that. I genuinely don't know what to do. He completely stopped being intimate with me the last 2 weeks. These past 3 days, he told me that we should be on a short break, and he stays with his brother at nights. Whenever we've had a chance to talk, I've tried gently telling him that this is an insecurity we can overcome, but he keeps telling me that he is allowed to have certain insecurities and boundaries. Yeah, that's true, he's allowed that. I keep telling him that this is just a small bump in our relationship, but he apparently sees intercourse as one of his very high priorities, and keeps telling me that he can't change how he feels regardless of how much he would like to suppress the emotion. I told him that he was also really, really good in bed, and intercourse with him means so much more, yet he keeps telling me that he feels inferior compared to my ex. He is like a master debater, and I really, really don't know what to say to change his mind. I keep crying and wishing that I could go back in time and completely erase those 3 years with my ex. It's hard because you lied. You shouldn't have lied at the start of a relationship. You're basically building the foundation of your relationship on this one lie. You shouldn't have done it at the start, even if it was to keep him from judging you or keep him to you. That's your problem. That's your fault for doing that. I don't know how you're going to change his mind because he seems quite set in it. I don't know. Last time we talked, he told me that he wishes that feeling would go away, but he cannot control how he feels. But he can only control how he reacts to the feeling. No, that's true. I didn't know what that meant, but this morning I heard from his brother's wife that he is planning on breaking up with me today. I'm so scared that my beautiful relationship with this man is going to end because of something so small. You can't say that, because just because you think it's something small doesn't mean it's something small to him. Obviously, we know he definitely has insecurities around this. And he has been with you for a whole year thinking one way of you because you lied, for it to just in one day kind of change. It's not small to him. You're belittling his own opinion. It's small to you but not to him. That's the thing. I acknowledge that this is big for him. Then why did you say it's small? But I can't believe that I'm going to lose him over this. How can't you believe it? You lied. He probably doesn't even know if he can trust you with other things that you've told him about yourself. I know it might be a small lie to you, but he committed to you in the relationship on those terms of how you portrayed yourself and said what your past was and all that kind of stuff. I don't blame him. Like, he probably doesn't have that much trust anymore. Like, what did you say that was true, what's not? I really love him, and he's like a rock for me when my dad died, and he gave me so much support even though we were only dating for a short amount of time back then. He's very much like a stoic person when it comes to everything in life, and I can't believe that this affects him so much. I had already imagined marrying him and starting a family with him, but this toxic thing with my ex seems to still keep ruining things for me. How do I convince him that this is just a small hurdle in our relationship? I know that he loves me too, and I don't want him to break up with me. Well, I think the first thing is to stop saying it's a small hurdle, because he obviously doesn't see it like that. Acknowledge that for him, this is very big. This is a very big bump in the road for him, and work on that first. Like, you keep kind of downplaying what you think isn't big, because obviously it is really big for him. Like, he doesn't even, like, he's planning to break up with you about this, meaning that's such a big deal to him. I think that you just need to, like, kind of take a step back, realize that, and then ask him how he would go through with this. Like, is there something you can do to help him through that? Because it just seems like you keep telling him, like, it's small, we can get over this, we can get past your insecurities. Why don't you be like, what can I do? Or what can we do together? Like, realistically, put yourself in his shoes. Imagine, and you might, it's also depends on the person, but like, if I was lied to at the start of the relationship, like really, like lied about like a major part of my life that you also knew I had insecurities around, I would not be happy knowing a year into a relationship that what you said to me at the start was a lie, you know? Like, you gotta put yourself in his shoes. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about this story in the comments. What advice would you give her, if any? I don't know. I already said what I felt. She should stop downplaying his emotions and act like it's nothing. And it's only small, because it's not small for him. Anyways, before we go, just wanted to remind you once again of the Patreon channel. The link will be in the description. Check it out. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in another video, guys. Bye!